Madam Secretary, may I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Kramer?
Here.
Commissioner Eberline?
Here.
Commissioner Fritzos? Commissioner Lawson?
Here.
Commissioner Reed?
Here.
Commissioner Rodriguez-Elkins?
Here.
Commissioner Sperber?
Here.
Assistant City Attorney Brandon Sendall?
Here.
City Planner Jim Rendell?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Awesome. All right, I'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. We'll open this portion up for public comment. Do we have any public comment for anything tonight? I see none. We'll close public comment. And then, can I get a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
I'll second.
You have to say who called the motion.
Any discussion on the motion?
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Commissioner Kramer did the first motion. Commissioner Eberline was the second. Can we get a vote?
Mine showed that.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. I moved. Here we go.
It's coming up slow.
Wow. That was weird. Let's hear.
Chair Rawson, would you just call all in favor?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, it passes unanimously.
Any opposed, Chair?
Any opposed?
Thank you.
And then I would like a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to approve the minutes of the Planning Commission study session held on January 16th, 2024, and the Planning Commission meeting held on Thursday, January 18th, 2024, and the Planning Commission workshop held on Tuesday, January 30th, 2024.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a first move by Commissioner Kramer and a second by Commissioner Rodriguez-Elkins. Can we vote?
Yes, I don't think there's going to be, yes, for any discussion.
Any discussion? Okay. It passes unanimously. All right, so we'll move on to hearing item 7.1 PCN 23-001/CU 23-0010.
Good evening, Chair Lawson, members of the Planning Commission, and BAA, Senior Planner, here to present this request to you today. It's a conditional use permit to allow the use and construction of a hotel and multifamily apartment buildings at 1275 East Prater Way. So the project's 5.77 acre site is located here, outlined in red on your vicinity map on the screen, and it's in the MUD zoning district, mixed-use district, and is currently undeveloped. The site's generally located south of Prater Way and east of Marina Gateway Drive. So a little bit of background. Last September, the Planning Commission approved a comprehensive plan amendment, which changed the land use designation from MUD-MR, or mixed-use district, mixed residential, to MUD-MUC, which was mixed-use district, mixed-use commercial, and recommended approval of the rezoning to the City Council. Regional Planning Commission determined that the land use change was in conformance with the regional plan, and the City Council certified that land use change and approved the rezoning. Ordinarily, the multifamily component would be reviewed administratively by staff through the administrative review process. However, since this is a mixed-use project on a single site that did require a CUP for the hotel use, the multifamily use was elevated into that CUP for review by the Planning Commission. The hotel proposes to be 54,368 square feet in a single 93-room, 4-story building that's 42 feet in overall height, with an entry height at 51 feet. And the multifamily apartments proposed to be 44,406 square feet in 4 separate buildings that are up to 38 feet in height, with a total of 142 residential units. So this table illustrates comprehensive land use categories, zoning, and existing uses in the surrounding area. So to the north, comprehensive land use designation is IDR, or intermediate density residential, zoning SF6 for single family, and existing use is single family residential development. And to the south, MUD-MR is the comprehensive land use designation. Zoning is mixed use district, and existing use is multifamily residential immediately to the south. To the east, mixed use district, mixed use commercial, zoning, MUD, and existing use vocational college and art studio. As mentioned in the study session, vocational college just announced that they will no longer be in business, but as of the writing of the staff report, they were. To the west, MUD-MR, and the zoning is NUD for New Urban District for the Marina Landing, and the existing use there is gas station and convenience store. So this slide shows the overall site plan with access to the site from Prater Way and Marina Gateway Drive. Access to and from Prater Way will be at this driveway right here is the primary access point, which is a right in and right out because there is a center median. There is an additional driveway over here, which is for emergency access only and is gated. And then we have an access at this point off Marina Gateway, which is an all-direction access. You can see multifamily buildings at the northern and eastern side with the proposed clubhouse right here. And the hotel is located here at the southern end of the site. So currently the city is reviewing a request for a parcel map that would add this boundary right here. So we would have 2 separate parcels, one for the hotel and one for the adjoining multifamily uses. So the hotel is then buffered by these, this particular building here and over here from the single-family residential that is north of Prater Way. So this slide shows the preliminary landscape plan. The 2 frontages, one on Prater and one on Marina Gateway, do create different, differing landscaping requirements, as Prater Way is considered a primary street, which requires 10% landscaping for the site. Marina Gateway is a secondary street, which requires 15% landscaping for the site. However, the whole site in aggregate is about an average of 25%, which exceeds what is required for either primary or secondaries. There's also proposed a total of 138 trees for the site. The creative use of trees, landscaping materials, and fencing act as buffering between the hotel and multifamily residential use on the site, as well as between the hotel and the multifamily use to the south of the site. So, yeah, I'm done with the background, so move a little bit into the analysis here. For the zoning, the hotel use is a permitted use in the MUD zoning district with approval of a conditional use permit. And multifamily use, as I already stated, is a permitted use with approval of an administrative review. As previously stated, we're considering CUP for the entire site. There is a requirement per condition 12 in the conditions of approval for a reciprocal access agreement for cross-access through the entire site and across the parcel line. For parking, 259 parking spaces are provided, exceeding the minimum 236 that are required. And in terms of circulation, the design itself facilitates easy ingress and egress and circulation throughout the site. So a conditional use permit does require a review and analysis of potential impacts to traffic patterns. A total of 1,700 average daily trips is estimated to be generated by the combined uses on this site. The traffic impact analysis estimated the trip generation for the project site to be 100 in the morning and 127 in the afternoon peak hour trips. The analysis was reviewed by the city's transportation manager, and no street improvements other than striping and signage are recommended for this project. The applicant's preliminary landscape plan, again, shows proposed landscaping exceeds the requirements at 25% coverage. City of Sparks has performed preliminary sewer model calculations for the project, and the city's existing infrastructure has capacity to provide that sewer service. For lighting standards are to be limited in height near residential uses per condition 10 of the conditions of approval. In terms of amenities, there's clubhouse, multipurpose room, outdoor trellis and barbecue area, lawn games and fitness areas, walking paths, dog parks, community garden, raised beds, and benched seating areas. So we'll show the elevations here first for the hotel. Shows the west and south and north elevations. The hotel's exterior architecture does meet the architectural design standards for the MUD, MUC zoning district. The roof line is varied, as you can see here. And the building sides include both color and dimensional articulation every 20 to 30 feet, respectively. The red accent color encompasses a maximum of the overall a maximum of 25% of the overall wall area. And there's a porte-cochere canopy approximately 14 feet in height. You can see here at the entrance. And the overall height of the building is 42 feet or 51 feet at the entry, right here, well below the maximum allowable height of 150 feet for the zoning district. Exterior materials do provide compatibility with nearby existing buildings and consist of stucco, stone, and standing seam metal. So this is the north elevation, and the materials and color board illustrates the earth tones with a stronger sort of reddish brown accent color. These colors are in stucco with a dark bronze is the metal trim, and the boral stone, cultured stone, lead stone color is called platinum. So these images are of the north elevation of the apartment building number 1 on Prater Way. The buildings are wrapped in cement plaster as well as fiber cement board. The north-facing facade demonstrates both color and vertical and horizontal dimensional articulation and provides compatibility with nearby architecture both to the south and the west in both color, style, and design, as well as serving to diminish overall massing of the building. The other 3 buildings follow in color, dimensioning, and design. The roof lines are varied, both flat and sloped with parapets. And the choice of colors provide compatibility with the surrounding neighborhood. So this one, this top image is the entire north elevation, and this is the right side of it and the left side of it, just to bring it up into better relief for you. This is the south elevation of building number 1. The top image illustrates the total length, again, while the bottom 2 are just magnified for you. And these are both the west and the east elevations, again, showing the sloped roof treatment for building number 1. So I've completed the presentation and the background analysis, analysis, and moving forward, there are 5 findings the Planning Commission must consider. So finding C1 is concerned with conformance with the comprehensive plan. Comprehensive plan land use designation for this site is MUC, mixed use district, mixed use commercial. Both hotel and multifamily uses are allowable for this land use designation, subject to approval of the CUP for the hotel. The approval of this conditional use permit also facilitates the development of multifamily housing consistent with Goal H1. And Title 20 of the Sparks Municipal Code allows for the hotel and multifamily residential use to be located in the MUD zoning district through the approval of the CUP, which allows for an environment in which businesses can build within the city of Sparks, contributing to Goal EV1. The construction of both uses provides a mixed-use project supporting Goal MG1, MG2, and EV1. Finding C2 is concerned with compatibility with surrounding properties. The current undeveloped site is located at the northeast corner of Crater Way and Marina Gateway and is located approximately 82 feet from the single-family residential uses to the north. However, the commercial hotel use is to be located approximately 385 feet from the nearest single-family residential use. While the MUD zoning district allows a height of up to 150 feet for this site, the tallest structure is proposed to be 42 feet for the hotel and 38 feet for the multifamily buildings. The architectural elevations for both buildings incorporate many of the development and architectural standards described in Sparks Municipal Code. The architectural design reflects that which is in close proximity to the project site, while also maintaining individuality in color treatment. Landscaping is utilized not only for the beautification of the site, but to provide a permeable surface to reduce drainage of rainwater runoff into the storm drain systems. Also, landscaping and fencing do provide buffering between uses that will also mitigate headlight beams from motorists shining into ground floor units. Light standards will range in height from 12 feet to 16 feet, depending on where on the site they are located, per condition number 10 of the conditions of approval, to be verified with the submittal of a photometric plan. So finding C3 is concerned with impacts to natural resources. Natural resources are typically considered to be air and water. This use does not produce any negative impact directly to these resources, since the subject site's been previously reviewed as part of the comprehensive plan update process. Therefore, city staff does not believe approval of CUP would impair the availability of natural resources or the region's ability to support its population. And finding C4 is concerned with addressing identified impacts such as parking. As discussed in the analysis section, the combined project provides 23 additional parking spaces beyond what was required for both the hotel and the multifamily uses. In addition, overnight parking of recreational vehicles is prohibited by condition 13 of the conditions of approval. Traffic has an impact. With the anticipated 1,700 average daily trips, 100 morning and 127 afternoon peak hour trip generation, off-site improvements are recommended, such as striping and signage only, and they're addressed both in the analysis section and condition number 7 of the conditions of approval. No additional turn lanes at the project access points or other improvements are recommended for this project. Sewer facilities, city has the capacity to provide sewer service, as the proposed development is in the allotment of the Tum Wharf sewer capacity, and no additional sewer infrastructure improvements are required, as discussed in the analysis section. And for lighting and noise, proposed use will generate light from vehicles and noise associated with both the employees and visitors of the hotel, as well as multifamily residential use. Condition 10 provides mitigation for lighting by limiting the height of the light standards, and condition 6 further mitigates both light and noise by providing for landscaping and walls, which serves to provide buffering to residential uses both on and off the site. And finally, public notice was published in the Reno Gazette Journal on January 30th. Notices were mailed to 74 owners of property within 500 feet of the subject site. The Planning Commission meeting functions as the public hearing for this item as required by Nevada revised statutes in the Sparks Municipal Code. And at the time of the writing of this report, and as of noon today, there has been no public comment or inquiries on this item. So staff does recommend approval of this request, and this concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, as is the applicant's representative.
Do any commissioners have questions for the staff?
No.
No.
Does the applicant want to add anything?
Sorry, I hit my knee on that post. Good evening, commissioners. Stacey Huggins with Wood Rogers for the record. If it's okay with you, Mr. Chair, I do have just a couple things I'd like to add. Staff did a great job summarizing the project, but I have just a couple of slides I'd like to share with you all, if that's okay with you. Okay, perfect. Just get this plugged in here. There it goes. Sorry, trying to find the piece. I'm going to just jump ahead a couple of slides. So a couple things I wanted to just point out. This is going to be a phased project. So what you are going to see first in terms of development on this site is the hotel project. This is planned to be a Holiday Inn Express. So the condition that's on there about long stays is not something that's traditionally experienced with a Holiday Inn Express. So that's something we wanted to make sure you knew about. And then, as this project gets developed, we looked at these two projects kind of separately. It is coming to you as one project, but because they're phased and because we think the hotel is going to come first, I just wanted to note that if this project were to stand alone and come separately, it still meets all the requirements of Sparks Code. It required 94 parking spaces on its own. We've provided 96 specifically for the hotel. We've met the landscaping requirement specifically for the hotel project, again, if it were to come on its own. So I just wanted to be able to touch on that. I wanted to also note the orientation of the hotel. The front of that hotel faces north to the interior of this site. And that was intentional so that we didn't impact the existing residential to the south of this project or to the west of this project, because we wanted to make sure that it was a known project to people that were coming into the apartment project. So that those couple of things we thought were important to note. In terms of the apartment project, and as Danny pointed out, that's the buildings around the north edge and around the eastern edge. These are planned to be senior affordable housing apartments. So the developer is very interested in doing that. That is their business model. So I wanted to just note that it is 3 buildings that are 3 stories. The clubhouse is 1 story. There are 142 units, and the units within the apartments are 1 and 2 bedroom units. And the reason I want to make that note is that the concept behind an apartment and a hotel together is that, particularly in an affordable senior housing project, if your parent was living in this and you wanted to come and visit, you could very easily stay in this hotel across the parking lot with your family and be able to very easily visit with your senior adult parent who lives in this housing apartment project. So I wanted to be able to kind of share with you what the project concept was behind this project coming through as a mixed-use development. Danny showed you the building elevations. I don't need to repeat those. I did want to give you a chance to see what the clubhouse looks like. You can see, again, with the sloped roofs, the 26-foot tall. It's quite a bit shorter than any of the other buildings on the site, but it's designed to have a multi-purpose room and encourage these folks that are living in this senior housing project to commingle and be a community within their housing project. Here, these are the colors. I do want to just make a note that the developer of the apartment project said they don't love the gold color, so they're probably going to come in with something that's a little bit different, but consistent with the hotel style and color, so you're still not going to see something that's inappropriate for the area. It'll be consistent with what you see in the area. So that concludes my little bit of extra stuff. I am happy to answer any questions you have. The developer is here if you have questions for him. Thank you for giving me just a few minutes.
Yeah. Do any commissioners have questions?
No, I just have a comment.
Okay.
Thank you, Stacy, for clarifying that, because that was one of my first questions. How does that work, and what do you mean by affordable housing? Is it really affordable for seniors, as was stated in the findings? So I think it's a project that it's time.
Great.
So I think it's a great idea.
Yes.
Chair, point of clarification, Commissioner Reed, what did you mean by in the findings that it stated?
I meant in the report because one of the findings was affordable senior housing, and I didn't get that. So it was just
I'm
clarified for me.
I'm unaware of that in the staff report.
I think,
So I would want to take
go back to
take a
that?
look at that. I'm just concerned
I thought it was in her staff report.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And it was-
for the
yeah.
commission, your decision should not be based tonight on whether this project is affordable or not. It would be based on the use as multifamily and as a hotel.
Right, but it was in the staff report.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you see it too?
Yeah, it's yeah.
Should say something about senior affordable housing.
Right, exactly, and even the drawings showed affordable housing, senior affordable housing.
Yeah.
Chair, if I may, just on that, and, you know, it obviously is intended to be affordable housing, senior housing. I think and where Jim was going with it is, that's not a condition of approval. I don't believe
No, it
that the
wasn't.
city could condition it on that, so one of the difficulties with conditional use permits is it is approved as conditioned, and sometimes, and I'm not saying the developer or Stacy are making any representations that aren't gonna be true, but sometimes years down the road, decades down the road, something changes, and, well, I thought that was restricted. If it's not in the conditions of approval, then there's nothing the city would be able to do to stop that. So, like Jim said, we're approving the actual use, looking at trip generation, circulation, traffic, things like that. But as presented, any limitation on affordable housing or senior housing, it isn't a condition of approval.
No, I noted it's not in the conditions. It was stated in the findings, so.
Chair Rawson, if I may.
Yes.
Commissioner Reed, just gone through the staff report, and it's Goal H1, and it's the phrasing of Goal H1 is facilitate development of housing that's available, affordable, and accessible to a diverse and growing population, including senior citizens. That doesn't mean it's affordable housing in terms of funding or less than market rate. It just means it's, in this case, apartments that could be for senior citizens. But that's the goal as written within the comprehensive plan.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you, Danny. Any more questions? This is a public hearing item, so does anybody from the public wish to make a comment on this particular item? I see none, so I'll close public comment, and I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the conditional use permit CU 23-0010 associated with PCN 23-0011 to allow for the construction and establishment of a hotel use and a multifamily residential use based on findings C1 through C5 and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report and subject to the 14 conditions of approval as listed in the staff report.
Do I have a second?
Ricky Rodriguez Elkins, second.
All right, do we have any more further discussion on this item? All right, we have a move by Commissioner Kramer and a second by Ricky Rodriguez Elkins. And the motion approved unanimously. And I'd like to make note that Commissioner Pritzo is now arrived. All right, so we're moving on to 7.2, PCN 01056/CU 23-0009. And welcome, Kobe.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Rawson and members of the Planning Commission. For the record, my name is Kobe Galano, and I'm a planner here with the City of Sparks. Before I begin my presentation, it should be noted that the labels on the commercial center and parking agreement exhibits should read 7 and 8 respectively. It's correct in the staff report, it's just the labels on the actual exhibits. This item is a request for a conditional use permit to establish a child care facility and allow extended hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. within a 10,692 square foot existing building located at 4860 Vista Boulevard. The subject site is outlined in red on the screen and is a 0.29 acre parcel generally located north of Disk, east of Vista, and south of Aractable Drive. The parcel is zoned C2, or general commercial, and is located in the northeast corner of a larger commercial center, which totals approximately 4.2 acres in size. The commercial center is currently developed with a total of 6 buildings and 12 tenant spaces. There we go. As previously stated, the proposed child care facility is requesting to operate with extended hours Monday through Sunday. A child care facility is permitted in the C2 zoning district with approval of a conditional use permit. Additionally, a conditional use permit is required for child care facilities to operate outside of the normal operation hours, which is defined in Sparks Municipal Code as 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The commercial center offers a variety of businesses engaged in retail, restaurant, medical office, and general office uses. The commercial center was built in 2005, subject to a special use permit, SP 010022, excuse me, that allowed for the construction of the 6 buildings that currently sit on that site. The commercial center has a shared access and parking agreement that allows for primary access off of Vista and Aractable. The agreement also allows for shared parking throughout the site and within the commercial center that allows each tenant and that agreement allows each tenant to have designated parking spaces adjacent to the tenant's building. The proposed child care use will comprise up to 10,692 square feet. Required parking per Sparks Municipal Code is 26 spaces or 1 space per 300 square feet of building area. A cumulative parking analysis for the commercial center was submitted on behalf of the applicant, which demonstrates there's currently 221 parking spaces available within the commercial center. The proposed child care facility with the proposed child care facility in operation, there will be a total of 148 parking spaces required for all the established uses within the center. So factoring in the operation of the proposed child care facility, it would still have an excess of 73 remaining parking spaces within the center. And this can be seen on the last page of Exhibit 5. The applicant has stated that the facility intends to limit pickup and drop-off operations to occur at the front door of the building, which will proactively prohibit parents from visitation and access into the building during operation hours. The proposed child care facility has 12 assigned parking spaces located directly in front of the building, and the remaining 14 spaces can be provided by the commercial center's shared parking configuration. Staff believes that the proposed pickup and drop-off operations occurring in front of the building will minimize the amount of time customers will spend parked on site and proactively mitigate traffic, parking, light, noise, and other conflicts that can be expected with an open door policy at a child care facility. The proposed use is estimated to generate 88 PM peak hour trips. A traffic and crash analysis was submitted with the application for this project. City engineering staff has reviewed the application and analysis and are not recommending any off-site improvements at this time. Our traffic engineering staff is here today and available to answer any questions that you may have. And as a follow-up to the question asked at study session, I would like to note that Washoe County Human Services has reviewed the proposed child care facility and has provided in writing a letter that states playground equipment and structures will not be required to be installed in the kind of outside area located behind the building. This letter was provided to you before the meeting today. With the background and analysis concluded, I'm going to transition over to the findings. So finding C1 is concerned with conformance with the comprehensive plan. The CUP allows for an environment in which small businesses, such as the proposed use, can utilize existing spaces for innovative small businesses, which supports goal EV4. Staff believes the approval of this CUP would allow for a new and specialized child care facility that will contribute to the quality of life in the community, supporting policy EV8. Additionally, child care facilities provide a critical service to local citizens. By allowing the proposed extended hours of operation, the applicants will be able to provide an essential service to our community's economy and local workforce, further supporting policy EV8. Finding C2 is concerned with compatibility with surrounding properties. The surrounding uses adjacent to the commercial center consist of an existing child care facility to the north, a fire station to the south, a mini warehouse storage facility to the east, and a single-family residential use to the west. While it can be expected that the proposed use will generate noise, staff does not anticipate that it'll be audible from outside of the facility or from adjacent commercial or residential uses. The noise generated by the use will be buffered from the adjacent residential uses by the existing child care facility to the north, the storage facility to the east, and Vista Boulevard to the west, as well as the existing landscaping that's currently on site. Additionally, the closest residential use to the proposed child care facility is over 400 feet to the east and over 330 feet to the west. The other commercial uses within the commercial center have been found to be compatible with the proposed child care facility and will not be adversely affected with the proposed facility's operations, given the amount of parking within the center and operations occurring primarily indoors. Finding C3 is concerned with impacts to natural resources. The subject site has previously been developed with a commercial office building and no new construction is being proposed with this request. The potential impairment of natural resources was previously considered when the site was designated as a commercial land use within the city's comprehensive policy. Finding C4 is concerned with addressing identified impacts. As previously stated in my presentation, staff and the applicants have addressed identified impacts in the following ways that I will list right now. Staff has proposed condition number 4, which would limit the hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., which would prevent 24/7 operations from occurring at the site. To ensure access between the parcels and allow for shared parking, staff has proposed condition number 5, which would require a reciprocal parking agreement to be on file with the administrator prior to the issuance of this CUP or any future building permits following the CUP. The proposed use will generate a demand for 26 parking spaces. 12 of the spaces will be located directly in front of the building, and 14 spaces will be provided by the commercial center shared parking. That's in accordance with the reciprocal parking agreement. The commercial center currently has 221 total parking spaces. With the operation, as previously stated, they'll still have an excess of 73 spaces within the commercial center, far exceeding what is required by the Sparks Municipal Code. To ensure that adequate parking maintained on site, staff has proposed condition number 7, which would require the applicant to submit a cumulative parking analysis for the commercial center prior to the issuance of any building permits and provide an updated cumulative parking analysis if changes occur in neighboring uses that indicate intensification of the site. Staff is recommending that parking for the proposed pickup and drop-off operations directly in front of the building be placed directly in front of the building. This is intended to reduce pedestrian traffic concerns during the early morning and late evening hours of operation. Staff has proposed condition number 6, which would require the installation of incidental signs on 6 of the smaller stone veneer pillars located on the front elevation of the building. Additionally, the proposed drop-off and pickup operations are intended to minimize the amount of time that customers spend parked on site. Here on the left is a picture of the entire building. You can see the front entrance. Those are the 2 larger pillars, and the applicants are not being asked to install signs on those. They're being asked to install signs on the 3 adjacent pillars on each side of that front entrance, so the smaller stone pillars. The picture on the right is the commercial center's shared parking lot and adjacent tenants as well. And here are some pictures of the smaller stone veneer pillars that I've referenced that are located on the front of the building. The proposed incidental signs will be installed on the 3 you can see right here, and this will designate the pickup and drop-off location for the proposed facility. Finding C5 is concerned with public notice and public hearings. Public notice was sent to 42 property owners and published in RGJ on January 30th, 2024, as prescribed by NRS and Sparks Municipal Code, and a public hearing is being held today. As of today, staff has only received 1 public comment. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve this request with the recommended motion shown on the screen. This concludes my presentation, and I'm here to answer any questions, as well as the applicants are here as well, and so is our engineering staff.
Thank you, Kobe. Does any commissioners have questions for staff?
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Elkins.
So, thank you, Cody, I appreciate it. So the letter from childcare licensing indicates 37.5 square foot per child. Can you show me on the drawing where the playground area is? I saw the fence line. And how many children are they anticipating?
Would the applicant like to answer the second question? Can I answer the first?
Sure.
Can you clarify the first? So you want to see the outside?
Yeah, the play area.
Okay, let me, I believe that was exhibit.
Come on, there it goes. 4.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
Sure,
I
sorry about
apologize.
that. And so I was just curious, looking at the exhibit 4, trying to figure out where if all of the area behind the fence is the playground area, and how many square feet that is, how many children are being served?
So, sorry. Hi, I'm Charmaine
Hi.
Dunn. I'm the owner of Alphabet Academy
Thank
currently. It is a U-shaped playground, so it's going to be on the exhibit, exhibit 4. It's going to be to the far left, straight behind, and to the far right. Department of Human Services has already come out and allowed a spot for roughly 211 to 220 children. We're asking for 200.
Okay.
I currently own Alphabet Academy right now, 6 minutes away, still in Sparks, 89436. We are open right now 7 days a week. We're asking for a 3-hour extension in the evenings. We are already open in the morning. We are open from 6:30 in the morning already to 7 p.m., 7 days a week. So we are asking to go a little bit longer till 10 p.m. The reason why is because parents who do work at the prison, who do work at the medical, they're having a hard time getting to us by 6 p.m. Some of our children are developmentally delayed, being open till 10 p.m. Not every single night, but we'll give them time to have mental health breaks, have their children have therapy on site with us in-house, and provide additional care for them without having to outsource to other people, being that we're licensed, trained, and bonded to have the children with us.
All right, thank you. I understand. I owned Great Adventures Children's Center for 5 years. We were 24 hours, 365 days of the week.
Congratulations
So
on 24 hours.
I appreciate the fact that you know that parents need to be served.
Yeah.
So I
and
was
they're
just
having a
cons-
hard time
yeah.
just being to us by 6.
Yeah, I had understood that you were gonna have 200, and I was just curious as to the playground area, if there was enough space
So all the way
there.
around, no structures going in. We have concrete and grass, natural trees, park-like setting. It's perfect for us.
Great.
And that's what we're gonna use right now is tricycles and things like that, balls, outdoor
Sure.
sources.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you, Kobe. So this is a public hearing item. Is there any public wish to comment on this particular item? All right, I see none.
Before you close, just for the record, just to make it clear, the written public comment that Kobe
Okay.
referenced is provided in your packet here, and it was provided at study session as well on Tuesday.
So just make that clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have a public comment that was provided for us here on record. So thank you. Any more discussion? Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion. So I have a motion by Commissioner Reed, a second by Commissioner Kramer.
I'll read the motion. I move to approve the conditional use permit PCN 01056 CU 23-0009 to establish a child care facility and allow extended hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. located at 4860 Vista Boulevard, based on findings C1 through C5 and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report and subject to the 8 conditions of approval as listed in the staff report.
And I second that motion.
All right. I have a move by Commissioner Reed and a second by Commissioner Kramer. Any further discussion? I see none. So let's take a vote. And it passed unanimously. Thank you, Kobe.
Thank you.
All right, we're on to 7.3, PCN 05115/CU 23-0011. You're up to bat, Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. For the record, Scott Carey, Senior Planner. I will also note for the record, I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. Sorry, couldn't get through the meeting without making a dumb joke like that. For the Commission's consideration tonight is a conditional use permit to allow for a 24-hour delivery use in conjunction with the specialty grocery store located in the Sparks Crossing plan development. Here is a copy of the vicinity map. Subject site is located within the Sparks Crossing plan development shopping center. It is bounded by Galleria Parkway to the south, Los Altos Parkway to the north, and Pyramid Way roughly to the west. A little bit of background on this item. The Sparks Crossing Plan Development Handbook does allow for specialty grocery store as a permitted use. However, the handbook does restrict the hours of operation for any use within the development to a maximum of 17 hours. The handbook does allow for uses to operate in excess of 17 hours, but with a conditional use permit. The applicant has expressed a desire to have the ability to deliver products to the specialty grocery store outside of that 17-hour use period. According to the applicant, the grocery store will receive 2 to 3 delivery trucks per day. One is typically a dry/frozen food truck, and the other 2 are perishable items that typically carry bread, floral, produce, those kinds of things. According to the applicant, the perishable food trucks are typically delivered in the morning around 5 a.m. And dry/frozen deliveries are typically made at night between 8 and 9 p.m. There are three main issues that staff carefully analyzed when reviewing this proposed conditional use permit. The first one is access. Primary access to the site was reviewed carefully when this center was developed in 2005. Primary access to the subject site is from Los Altos Parkway and Galleria Parkway. Staff does not anticipate any changes are needed for access with the proposed conditional use. The second area of emphasis is parking. The Sparks Crossing Plan Development Handbook requires one parking space for every 250 square feet of general retail use. For the existing shopping center, there are a total of 449 parking spaces required, and a total of 598 parking spaces are provided on the site today. No additional parking will be required from the specialty grocery store use or the proposed 24-hour delivery use. The third area of emphasis is the hours of operation. According to the applicant, the grocery store will be open to the public from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Staff believes that limiting the grocery store hours in which they're open to the public from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Sunday will help reduce the amount of off-hour truck deliveries that will go to the subject site and further mitigate any potential land use impacts. Proposed condition number 5 limits these hours that are open to the public. And I will note, as a follow-up to the discussion at the study session on Tuesday regarding the proposed 24-hour delivery use, it is staff's opinion and recommendation that we go with the 24-hour use because the subject site is surrounded by commercial land uses, and we feel that the areas as developed would mitigate any potential impacts. The fourth area of analysis was noise and lighting. The proposed 24-hour delivery use may generate additional light and noise during the off-hour deliveries. The potential for noise and lighting may be heard beyond the subject site during these off hours, but we believe that it's mitigated by the fact that the proposed facility is within an existing shopping center and has a developed truck loading bay that has concrete masonry units and is pretty tall. Additionally, site is surrounded by existing and planned commercial uses. There are 5 findings that this commission is being asked to make tonight with respect to this conditional use permit. The first finding is compliance with the comprehensive plan. The subject site has a commercial land use designation in the city's comprehensive plan. The site is also part of the Sparks Crossing Plan Development, which governs its permitted uses. A specialty grocery store isn't allowed use within the Sparks Crossing Plan Development, and the handbook does allow for a use to operate in excess of 17 hours with conditional use permit. Staff believes that the proposed 24-hour delivery use in conjunction with the specialty grocery store will support goals MG1 and MG2 by allowing the Sparks Crossing development to continue to provide economic vitality to the city and provide a non-residential land use. Additionally, permitting a 24-hour delivery at this location will advance goal MG1 by encouraging reinvestment into the Sparks Crossing Shopping Center and adding to continued employment in this area of the city. And finally, allowing the 24-hour delivery use at this location, we believe will help allow new products to be delivered and sold within the specialty grocery store, which will help grow and diversify Sparks' economy, supporting goal EV1. The second finding is compatibility with adjacent properties. Here is a vicinity map provided by the applicant. The subject site is an 18,000 square foot facility. It's currently occupied by the World Market retailer. And to the north is existing commercial uses. To the west are existing commercial uses and future uses. Immediately to the south of the subject site is commercial area as part of the Sparks Galleria plan development. Staff recently approved administrative review for a new car wash on that site. And then to the west, or to the east, is other commercial uses as well as single-family. In terms of compatibility, the closest residential use is a single-family home that is located on the other side of Galleria Parkway. Staff did a rough estimate. It's about 700 feet away from the subject site. Overall, staff believes that we can make finding C2 and that the proposed 24-hour delivery use is compatible with existing and permitted uses on the adjacent properties. The third finding is natural resources. The subject site has been previously developed and no new commercial or development is proposed with this request. The subject site was previously considered for the potential impairment of natural resources when it was assigned a commercial land use in the city's last comprehensive plan update. Therefore, staff does not believe that approval of this conditional use permit will impair the availability of natural resources or the region's ability to support its population. The fourth finding is C4, and this is that the applicant will address identified impacts. There are three primary areas that staff looked at and tried to propose conditions of approval to mitigate these impacts. The first one is hours of operation. According to the applicant, the grocery store will be open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Staff believes that limiting the hours of this grocery store to these hours will help reduce the adjacent land use impacts. Proposed condition number 5 limits the hours of the specialty grocery store from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Sunday through Monday. The second area is the existing loading dock. Here is the subject site, and here is its loading dock here. I will point out that there, according to the applicant, there are 3 or fewer truck deliveries daily to this grocery store, and all deliveries will take place within this existing truck terminal. The existing loading bay was developed on a slope and has large CMU block walls that provide screening inconsistent with the standards of the Sparks Crossing Plan development. Staff believes that the existing truck loading dock, if it's maintained in its additional condition and current condition, will mitigate potential impacts. Proposed condition of approval number 7 limits deliveries to this truck loading dock bay and requires that the bay be essentially maintained in its current form. To the south of the subject site is a large mature landscape berm. And I will point out, I think and credit to this past commission and staff and the developers, it has done a pretty good job of screening. You can see from this image here that the truck bays do line up with mature landscaping and large planting of evergreen trees. So the existing berm and this mature landscaping, we believe, does provide adequate screening from the loading dock area. Here's some photos of this berm. You can also see that it is pretty elevated too. With the mature landscaping, that should help. Condition number 8 requires that this landscape berm and the landscaping be maintained throughout the life of the project. And it does also require the replacement of any trees or landscaping if it dies. The fifth and final finding is public notice was given. This public notice of this public hearing was published in the Reno Gazette-Journal on January 30th. In addition, 136 property owners within 500 feet of the subject site were provided notice of this public hearing. Staff did receive a total of 2 public comments. They were from a nearby business owner who was wondering who the specialty grocery store operator is. Planning Commission did receive a copy of those public comments. Overall, staff is recommending approval of the proposed conditional use permit request. It is anticipated that the specialty grocery store will receive 1 to 3 trucks per day from 5 a.m. and that deliveries are not anticipated after 10 o'clock p.m. Staff believes that the design and the construction of the existing truck loading bay, the landscape berm with its mature landscaping are adequate to provide mitigation as long as they are maintained. And Staff is recommending approval and feels that the 24-hour delivery use is reasonable, is compatible with surrounding land uses, and can be mitigated with the proposed conditions of approval. That concludes my presentation, Mr. Chair. I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are.
All right, do any commissioners have questions? Commissioner Pritzos?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, Scott, I was just curious, if they're not anticipating any deliveries between, like, before 5 or after 10, then why do they need to be open from 11 to 4:59?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think from the staff's perspective, it is easier to administer a condition of approval for 24 full hours. In our estimation, we felt that that was reasonable because it is surrounded by an existing shopping center. It's certainly within the purview of the commission if you want to change up those hours and limit it to some different hours beyond or less than the 24. Happy to take a look at that.
So basically, it's just like for flexibility in case, like, I don't know, the trucks get like trapped over the pass or something and arrive at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, and it does snow, and that's a really good that's a really good point, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you, Scott.
Do we have any more?
Mr. Chair, I do.
Yes.
So, Scott, welcome to that side of the aisle. I'm looking at the map here and trying to figure out where the trucks are gonna come in at, because they're gonna have to back in, and they've got a long way to back in to that loading dock. And if you have ever heard a semi backing up, that is a lot of noise going on at, say, 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't have an issue with it. I just, that's quite a ways to be backing up. There are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so entrances into this. I would assume that they're gonna come off Galleria. There's a signal down there. I've seen trucks coming out of there, which is super scary just to be sitting there. But they're backing a long way. I'm just curious as to that. That's a long backup there. And just for trees to provide the buffer to the noise, maybe there should be more trees.
Okay, thank you.
I'm kind of thinking that, it's kind of sparsely landscaped up there. And even though there's a berm, sound carries, and in the middle of the night, you can certainly hear it. I mean, I can hear things down on Pyramid Highway, and I live on a hill, so, sound carries. So I'm just a little concerned about, backing up for, I don't know how many feet that is. I wouldn't even begin to think of that, but that's quite a ways. So just a thought on my behalf, just don't know yet.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Kramer, for the question. I think with respect to the backup distances, the city staff did look at that with the site plan review in 2005, and they did find that it met the standards of the handbook in terms of the required turnaround and loading. And it has, to staff's knowledge, the retail use and the delivery truck terminal, it has existed and has worked satisfactory since that time. We are not recommending any changes to the design, but certainly with we have some pictures here of kind of the nearby landscaping. If you would like for us to add additional trees or landscaping to help mitigate, it's certainly within your purview.
I don't know that I guess it is a little sparsely landscaped as far as I can see on that particular side. The other side over by where the car wash has been designated looks to be a little bit more landscaped, a little bit bigger percentage of landscaping there. So it looks like some have died off on that particular hill, and nobody has replanted that at this particular point in time.
Yeah, that's a very good observation. I think with the language we put into condition 8 to make sure that it's maintained if a tree dies, that was kind of the intent behind that.
Okay, but that's
of it.
going forward, if a current tree in there dies, that's fine, but what about the ones that aren't even there at this point? I mean,
Sure.
I think that's one of my, concerns right now. That's all.
Commissioner Elkins.
So I guess in terms of that, would that be the responsibility of the shopping center owner to maintain and renew or add additional landscaping, or the tenant?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner, for the question. When this project was reviewed through the site plan review process in 2005, roughly, there was an associated landscape plan that went with that. There's also specific standards within the handbook. And, so you are correct. It is the responsibility of the property owner to maintain the landscaping and to make sure that it continues on in conjunction with the landscape plan. The city does have the ability, if there is a complaint that's filed, and this is something that routinely happens with our code enforcement staff, we would look at the landscape plan, and, if there's a tree missing, then we would work with the applicant or the property owner to make sure that it's replanted to meet the approved landscape plan.
The applicant here?
Yeah, we have two members from the applicant.
You want to
Come on
add
down, guys.
anything to this?
I don't think so. We appreciate your time tonight.
Please state your name first, for the record.
Brett Leslie, Kevin Donegan, with RCG Ventures, owner of the shopping center. I think a lot of the landscaping, we'd be more than happy to enhance it. I think the picture that is shown here on the bottom right is not owned by our company that kind of backs up to it. I don't know if that's where the car wash is going, et cetera, but, we take pride in how we, manage our shopping centers, and if there are some things we need to do to enhance it for sound improvements or lessen noise issues, et cetera, more than happy to consider it.
Okay.
But we think this is a great addition to the city of Sparks and to the community, and are excited about it, hopefully joining the mix.
All right.
What's the name of the grocery store?
We're all dying to
Killing
know.
me, yeah.
If you knew how much we would be fined if we gave that information,
Yeah.
it's really been one of those that we've signed agreements, et cetera, and it's on. If they want it, when they're ready to announce it, they will announce it, but they have made sure, they're sworn to secrecy, unfortunately. We're ready to scream the name, but we just can't do it quite yet.
All right, so any more commissioners have any questions for the applicant? All right. This is a public hearing, and we do have a speaker, William Rula. And you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, sir. For the record, William Rula. I'm a tenant, or resident actually, owner at Galleria Desert Winds, which is the residence right next to this complex. I'm also the vice president of our HOA board. This came up, we got the notice 2 weeks ago, so I appreciate that, so we could come in and have a conversation. I don't want to see a business not be put in to the shopping center. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good competition for the other shops that are there, but my concerns are these following questions I want to share with you, and I hope you guys will take these as you make your decisions for approval or disapproval, please. So as I read the summary notes, and I apologize, I could not download the staff report. I was trying to get it on my phone, I couldn't get it, so if some of these have been in the staff report, I'm unaware of it. So the first thing, what was a historical background for minimizing this development to a maximum of 17 hours a day? My presumption being is when I moved in, I'm one of the first residents in Galleria Desert Winds. Like, my house was built there as Sparks Crossing was being built up. My assumption being is that they limited it because they knew they had residential next door. So they probably didn't want trucks coming in at 24 hours a day at 2 o'clock in the morning, disrupting the neighbors. Because we're still there even though the businesses are closed. Did the applicant or city staff meet with our community or the community next door to us, Casio Soleil? I think that's the residents that they mentioned in their report, that the one house on the corner there that's 500 feet away. I know I didn't, or nor did our board get any notification or request. The summary notes also show primary access in the center of Galleria, off of Los Altos and Galleria. Commissioner Kramer, you're correct. That turn in from southbound Galleria into that complex, there's always this concrete stanchion that those trucks always knock over because they can't make the turn. An alternative, and my request to you is if there's a condition that, and they'll probably have to go to traffic engineering, is to restrict that truck traffic down the Galleria, but maybe using Shopper Square, because then there wouldn't have to be a backing issue. You come on off of Shopper Square on the west side, come down around their complex, and then they can back right into their dock area. So, and they also, if it's gonna be on Galleria, then we're gonna have three trucks a day at 5 o'clock in the morning, coming through Galleria Parkway. And it's right, that street's right in front of our complex. Was there a noise study done on the backside of the business? I think, Commissioner Kramer, you mentioned that backside, even without the trees, that sound will carry down all the way down, out across the street into our residential area. I'll get to the noise piece in a second, but when I sleep in the summertime with my window open, I can hear the traffic up on Pyramid, the race cars that are flying by. I'm gonna hear a truck backing up, because it sits down in this like little bowl, and we're lower than them, so it's gonna carry over into our complex. How many other businesses in the center have the same conditional use permit? Are there other businesses in here that have the over 17 hours, and how often do they deliver, and what hours do they deliver as well?
Interrupt, I'll let you finish your thought.
Thank you, thank you. As this is a conditional use permit, what repercussions are there for the applicant if approved, if the noise and traffic and anything else that adversely impacts the health, safety of the residents? So I would hope you take those questions into consideration. Know that we are neighbors. We want to be good neighbors, but we also have concerns about the noise and the traffic that's gonna come with the hours. I think Commissioner Pritos mentioned that as well. So I appreciate that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussions?
I do. I guess I'm gonna ask the applicant, applicant's representative, so that what is the impact to the specialty store if the truck can't deliver by a certain time, that they would have to spend the next 5-6 hours sitting at the truck stop waiting for the delivery? What's that impact to the store? Because in the staff report, it states they're not gonna have deliveries anticipated deliveries prior to 5 a.m. and no more deliveries after 10 p.m.
Right.
So what's that impact from the 10 p.m. to the 5 a.m. gonna have on the specialty store that it wouldn't normally have if those if those hours were 5 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
I think it was what Scott was mentioning earlier.
Can you sit at the, so the microphone can pick you up for the record?
Is that better? I think it's what Scott was saying earlier, that, that they don't anticipate there to be many deliveries after that, the overnight hours, if you will. And it's one of those that if there's a special situation, snowstorm, as Scott referenced, or another special situation where they could deliver a little bit later or earlier in the morning. But I think Scott had mentioned in there, it's 2 or 3 deliveries a day, and, the goal of theirs is not to be delivering between the nighttime hours. It just may be an occurrence where, I don't know if there's a fine related to it or et cetera, but they don't want to get punished if there is a situation where they have to deliver between 10 and 7 a.m.
So follow-up, who would a fine be levied by if they did not deliver
Heard of
the
that?
merchandise?
I would assume it'd be on the retailer themselves. I mean, they would have that delivery truck would have to be somewhere, would have to spend the night or hours, et cetera, at a truck stop, et cetera, and make those deliveries a little bit later in the evening or earlier in the morning.
I understand that. I spent 10 years in the trucking industry and know that there are delays. And I understand that truck drivers have signed a contract or they work for an agency and they have decided that those goods have to be delivered by a certain time. But there's always a margin, so to speak, a buffer zone where, weather is going to play into that particular fact regardless. I mean, if they close the pass, they close the pass, they're not delivering anyways. And when they open the pass, normally it's not opening in the middle of the night. It's opening during the daylight, when they finally get everything, because if the pass is closed, that is the most dangerous time to reopen the pass, is in the middle of the night. They just don't do it. So I don't understand why that particular neighborhood would have to have a 24-hour delivery window.
Can I approach? My name's Kevin Donegan with OCG. The other thing that Brett, the reason why they're needing to get, they open at 8 a.m. and if they have their deliveries come in at 7, they don't have enough time to put the fresh produce out. So that's why they're requesting to come in a little bit early, so they have time to get the produce and everything out, so everything's ready and stocked at 8 a.m.
Okay,
If
I
they
get that.
it
I
at
don't have a
7.
problem with the 5 a.m. I got a problem with between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. People are sleeping.
Gotcha.
And to me, even if you have, for people that have small children or even older people, I mean, some of us don't sleep very well. And so that particular type of truck noise is infuriating. I mean, I don't want to listen to some truck backing up at 3 o'clock in the morning while I'm in a dead sleep, and all of a sudden be woken up out of dead sleep because there's a delivery being made. So I have an issue with the 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. being allowed. I mean, are there other, Scott, and I'm sure you can answer this, I'm gonna get you all up here. Are there other businesses, and Costco being the biggest one, that has 24-hour delivery? And don't get me wrong, guys, I am not opposed to this at all. I just am not opposed to the specialty store. I am not opposed to that. I am opposed to the hours of making it okay so that we get 24 hours delivery. I just don't know that that's.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Kramer. For the record, Scott Carey. To answer the question regarding if there's any other businesses within the center that have the 24-hour delivery use, not within the Sparks Crossing plan development. It's specific language within this plan development handbook that says no uses beyond 17 hours. To the south is the Sparks Galleria plan development. It does not have that 17-hour restriction. For instance, that's how the Sprouts got in there. But the handbook does also include language limiting the delivery hours from 7 a.m. to 7. I think it's from 7 a.m. to like 10 p.m. It's not 24 hours, so.
Okay, so the other side of the street doesn't have it. On the other side of Pyramid, Walmart doesn't have it. Nobody else has that 24-hour delivery. Is that correct? Am I hearing that correctly?
It's hard to say with, throughout the entire city of Sparks, but
I'm not talking about the city of Sparks, the entire city. I am talking about this particular neighborhood. And I see
yeah,
that
within the Galleria.
with Los Altos and Pyramid and Disc and in that particular area. Are there other businesses that are allowed 24-hour delivery?
I don't believe within the Sparks Crossing plan development, the Spanish Springs Town Center plan development, or Galleria plan development, that there is a 24-hour delivery use permitted currently. This would be the first one.
All right.
Chair, Walmart across the street is not within those handbooks. It's C2, and it is not restricted
Okay,
for delivery time.
thank you.
Yes.
I kind of figured that too, but, okay. All right, sorry, don't mean to pepper you guys, but.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I'm just, I guess I am concerned about the folks that live in the neighborhood, because when I moved there were no folks that lived in that neighborhood. There was nothing. So having shopping there was a great thing for all of us that live out in that particular area of Sparks. I'm just concerned about the noise for them, 24 hours, between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. That's all. I'm off my rant.
Any more questions for the applicant or for staff? Any further discussion? So I'm assuming with this discussion here on this conditional use to get approved or not approved, Scott, we can add buffers to that? add landscape.
I see you looking over in my direction. It depends on whoever wants to make a motion, what the motion is. If it's a motion to approve 24 hours, it can be a motion to approve with changed hours, more limited.
Okay.
It could be a motion to deny outright, but yes, one of the options is to modify a condition or to tweak any terms.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, if I could get the screen back. Thank you, Julian. Yeah, certainly with Commissioner Prisco's comments and the discussion at the study session, you know, if the commission did not want to allow for 24-hour uses, they can deliver use, they could allow for extended beyond 17, and we could spell it out. I gotta quit saying we, sorry. You could spell it out in what those hours would be. So what I would propose, if the commission would like to restrict the hours, particularly with Commissioner Kramer's comments about the after 10 o'clock, you know, one suggested is condition number 3 with the project description. We could take out 24 hours and add in language. You could do 4 a.m. to midnight, 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., whatever the commission would desire. We're happy to change that up. And if we wanted to do the landscaping, we can add a new condition number 11, and we'd ask staff for some direction on what kind of trees or what you're looking for that condition. So that helps.
That does help. Thank you, Scott. So I'll entertain a motion.
Well, since I'm the one that just blew this right out of the water, I will make the motion. So, and Brandon, help me. I move to approve the conditional use permit PCN 05115/CU23-0011, a request for a conditional use permit to allow operating hours from
You could just say in excess of 17 hours.
in excess of 17 hours a day for deliveries in association with a specialty store to be from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. located in an 18,300 square foot portion of an existing 36-acre retail shopping center located at 121 Los Altos Parkway, based on findings C1 through C5, and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report, and subject to 11 conditions of approval, adding in landscaping on the south side, that would be the south side, below the berm of, let's say, deciduous pine trees or something that grows tall. I don't know what that word would be. We gotta have
Pine trees are carnivorous.
carnivorous pine trees, because they grow well, evergreens.
Maybe
Do I need to just, I need to just rework this one now?
We could take a recess if you wanted
Tim?
to kind of get your thoughts together. One thing I will note is that the use is allowed by right in the handbook for a 17-hour period in the day. And I think where the motion is going is restricting it to a specific 17 hours. So
we could, okay, so let's take a recess so that I can.
5 to 10 is 17
Right,
hours.
exactly.
5 to 10, so restricting it, so deleting the 24 hours. So they
Chair,
are restricted.
If I could.
Yes, Jim.
Before we take the recess, my concern is, as Brandon was outlining, they're already permitted.
to do a certain number of hours. They are asking to do additional hours.
Okay.
So it asks that the commission consider whether they are able to exceed what they're currently allowed. We are not really able to reduce what they're allowed by right in the handbook.
Right.
And then additionally, potentially the planning commission could discuss the landscaping components Commissioner Kramer put on the table. Then we could take a recess, understanding better what the planning commission as a whole's desire is for a landscaping condition. Because what is very difficult for staff when the commission, for example, says, please enhance landscaping with the evergreen trees. How many are you looking for? Is one enough? And that becomes very difficult for staff and code enforcement in time to enforce. So we would be looking for more of a specific direction that we can put in a condition that the applicant is very clear on what is expected of them. Potentially that could come through some discussion before the recess occurs.
Good with that.
Do we need to specify what the landscaping is as a condition of improvement other than? Yeah.
A percentage?
And what kinds of trees? I mean, is that something that has to be?
Through you, Chair, Commissioner Reed, what I'm asking is that some parameters are provided to staff so we can understand your direction. Simply by saying enhanced or additional landscaping is a very relative term, and it would be very difficult to say whether that met ultimately the intent of what the commission's desire was. So I'm not necessarily asking that you say coniferous and evergreen and deciduous and this and that, but potentially an addition of 6 trees would help us to understand what your intent is, that are directly, I think, southeast of the loading dock, or something to that effect.
Right.
So Scott, can you pull up there we go, that one right there. So, I'm gonna say, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna say, put in 6 more trees that are compatible with the current trees that are there. Is that okay?
In my opinion, it is, if it is with the rest of the commission.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So add condition number 11, and we want 6 more trees that are compatible with, on the south side, that are just compatible with what's currently there.
Potentially, Chair, we could get the sentiment of the rest of the commission.
So do we all agree? Do we have an,
I think agreeing with the trees, not to a specific 17 is problematic, so what Scott suggested at the start, going from like 5 to midnight.
he has in there 4 a.m. to midnight.
4 to midnight, sorry, yeah.
I agree with Commissioner Sperber. I'm totally fine with the tree thing, but I feel like if we're gonna limit the hours to 17, then there's really no point to the conditional use permit,
Right.
since
Correct.
that's already allowed. So if we're not gonna expand the hours past 17, then like I don't really even see the point.
Right. So commissioners, do we want to agree with the 4 a.m. to midnight?
Yes.
I'm good with that.
That
I'm
seems
fine with
reasonable
I'm
to
good
me.
with that.
And I'm fine with the landscaping too.
So Brandon, do we need to go recess now, or?
I think I can,
Somebody
I
needs
think
to
I can,
Ready for a motion?
I think
We
I
do
can-
it. If you want to take a recess, I can help whoever wants to make a motion.
I think I can do this.
All right,
I have faith in you.
I think I can do this.
Commissioner Kramer, you're up.
Okay, so let's try this again. I move to approve the conditional use permit PCN 05115/CU23-0011, a request for a conditional use permit to allow operating hours in excess of 17 hours per day with deliveries, with no deliveries between the hours of 12 a.m. and 4 a.m. in association with a specialty grocery store located located in an 18,300 square foot portion of an existing 36-acre retail shopping center located at 121 Los Altos Parkway, based on findings C1 through C5 and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report, and subject to the 11 conditions, landscaping being the 11th condition of approval as listed in the staff report. Is that all right, Brandon? Does that sound good?
Yeah, and just for clarification, the 11th has been written at this meeting right now, not in the staff report.
With the 11th condition being written at the meeting, this meeting today, February 15th, 2024. How's that?
Excellent.
For six additional trees to be compatible with the current landscaping that exists.
Yeah. Thank you.
Whew, that was a big one.
That was a big one.
I'll second that.
Oh, woo! Okay, I'm not repeating that.
Do we have any more comments? Any more discussion?
Chair, we're trying to capture.
She's trying to capture.
Okay.
Motion that was made.
Do it again.
No, I can't remember all of it.
You'll give us just a second, we'll be able to
She'll-
put it up there.
Okay.
And gentlemen, thank you. I truly appreciate your patience with me.
No, no problem.
I was a truck driver once.
I worked for a truck company once. And
That's a pretty difficult backup there.
yeah, I'm looking at that going, what the heck?
Yeah, you'd have to, I agree, you have to come in this way, come this way, then back up, and be your shortest and less noisiest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who runs long meetings.
Okay, congratulations.
Thanks, Commissioner Kramer. I appreciate this.
No problem. Anytime I can help.
Start off in the hot seat.
Anytime I can help. Want me to read this again? Thank you.
I don't think it's necessary, Chair, I think it captures.
So now we'll move on to our general business. All right, let's go to the agenda.
We don't have any.
We don't have
We
any.
don't have any.
So, it's a way to put Scott on the hot seat right out of the gate.
Yeah, and just remember, there's the announcements in 10, so just go straight to 10.1.
10.1? All right. So do we have any, I'll open this up to public comment. We'll give it a few minutes. I see no public comments, so I'll close public comments. Staff announcements?
Thanks, Chair, I was just checking to make sure we got item number 9. Did we go through item number 9?
Announcements? No, we did not.
we skipped item number 9 on the agenda. So if you want to open that, we can. No, but it's still on there.
So item 9, announcements.
There's none. Thank you.
And you
Thank
just
you.
wanted to say there's none.
And you did the first time, but.
It's a tough crowd, first one,
Don't need us going through an agenda violation.
right?
Thanks.
All right, do we have any staff comments or announcements?
No, Chair.
Do we have any commissioner comments or announcements?
This is gonna go downhill quick.
I see none. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.